Welcome back to the Anomaly Archives. Today, we're talking about the single most dangerous part of any zombie outbreak, the first 24 hours. Those first hours decide the game. Not because you turn into an action hero, but because panic pushes people into a handful of deadly mistakes. And here is the hard truth. Most men watching this would walk straight into at least one of them. Especially mistake number 2. That is the trap that catches even the most prepared individuals, specifically because they are acting on their strongest instinct. If you want to know how to navigate the chaos when the world breaks, don't forget to like and subscribe. Now, let's begin the list. Break. Number 5. Turning your home into a fortress instead of a launch pad. When the news breaks and the sirens start, where do you look first? Home, of course you do. You know the layout. You've got food in the pantry, tools in the garage, and your people are inside. It feels natural to lock every door, block the entrance with furniture, and decide you're going to ride it out right there. But in a real collapse, a lit, noisy suburban house isn't a fortress, it's a signal. Every neighbor who didn't prepare is suddenly desperate. They are scanning for any sign of food, water, or safety. Every light you leave on, every generator you fire up, every loud argument becomes a message that says, "Resources are here." Suddenly, you aren't just defending a house, you are defending a target. And you're doing it with a growing ring of hungry, scared people around your perimeter. The fatal mistake isn't using your home. The mistake is marrying it. Instead of spending your first hours quietly gathering essentials and planning a move to a lower-profile location, you burn daylight screwing boards into walls. You tell yourself that if you just reinforce hard enough, the world will politely stay outside. It won't. A smarter play is to treat your home as a staging point, not a final castle. Keep the lights blacked out. Keep the house quiet. Pack light, but pack seriously. Use your vantage points to watch the street without standing in a lit window. In the first 24 hours, your home should be a quiet launch pad. If you try to turn it into an unbreakable fortress, you're just choosing where you want your family to be cornered. Number 4. Waiting for them to tell you what to do. Let's be real, in a crisis, how many of us reach for a screen, the TV, a news app, social media? We want someone to tell us the plan. We'll wait for the official announcement. We'll see what the government says. In normal disasters like hurricanes, that instinct makes sense. Someone is coordinating a response. But in a fast-moving outbreak, large systems move too slowly. Information is delayed, filtered, and often sanitized to keep the public calm. They aren't trying to save you specifically. They're trying to manage the herd. By the time a safe zone is finally announced, how many people are already heading there? How many infected are mixed into that panic? While you sit on the couch waiting for permission to leave, other heads of households are emptying shelves, getting cash, and putting distance between their families and the city center. You aren't staying calm, you're falling behind. You can't outsource your safety to the news cycle. Use the news as data, but act on what you can actually see. Ask yourself, is the population density here too high? How fast are things changing on my street? If you wait for a man in a suit to tell you now you may leave, you might discover that the safe options are already gone. Number 3. Packing for comfort instead of movement. If I asked you right now to fill a backpack for the apocalypse, how heavy would it be? Most guys overload it instantly. 2 full outfits, a pile of heavy tools, cast iron cookware, 6 knives. Suddenly, the bag weighs 60 pounds. The logic is, I need to provide everything. But survival isn't about who has the most gear. It's about who can move. Every extra pound on your back steals your agility. It steals your ability to climb a fence, and most importantly, it steals your ability to carry a tired child or support an injured spouse. If your pack is too heavy, you become the slow link. You become the person who needs to stop and catch their breath while the worst possible things are happening around you. In the first 24 hours, your pack should feel almost too light. That's how you know you've been ruthless. Think in terms of categories: water, calories that don't need cooking, one good blade, a trauma kit, fire, and light. Ask yourself the sprint test. Can I pick up my youngest child and sprint for 30 seconds with this gear on my back? If the answer is no, dump the gear. You aren't prepared, you're just a loot drop for someone else. Number 2, the emotional sprint. This is the one we talked about at the start. This is the era that feels like the right thing to do. You see the first images, you hear the reports, you check the clock. Your wife is at the office, your kids are at practice. Your body is halfway out the door before your brain even finishes the thought, I have to go get them. The intention is pure, but the risk is catastrophic. Those first 24 hours are the most chaotic. Roads fill with abandoned vehicles. Sirens blur into one continuous noise. The threat pattern isn't clear yet. If you charge blindly into that mess, you are driving into a fatal funnel. Every extra minute you spend in gridlock is a minute where you are exposed, trapped, and useless to your people. And it gets worse. You might be leaving a safe position to push into a death zone with no guarantee they are still where you think they are. Does that mean you don't go for them? Of course not. But the fatal mistake is to sprint out blindly with no pre-agreed plan. In a prepared family, the conversation happens now, not when the cell towers are down. You need a plan that says, if we get separated, we meet here. If that's blocked, we go there. Without that plan, you're gambling everything on a heroic mental image. Sometimes, the hardest thing a man has to do in the first 24 hours is secure the perimeter, gather intel, and wait for the path that actually leads to reunion instead of suicide. Number 1. Freezing while the world changes. Not screaming, not running, freezing. You might think the main killer is the bite, but in real-world disasters, the first wave of casualties comes from people who simply refuse to believe it's happening. You see the news, you hear the shouting, but you sit there. You say, let's just wait and see. That wait and see moment is normalcy bias. Your brain is trying to protect you from the horror of the situation. But in a fast-moving outbreak, time is your only luxury, and you are burning it. While you are debating if you're overreacting, other people are taking the last of the gas and water. And remember, your family is watching you. If the head of the household freezes, the whole house freezes. This doesn't mean you should panic. It means you should bias toward action. Ask yourself, what can I do in the next 10 minutes that improves our position? Fill the bathtub with water, charge every device, put on real boots, call your key people. You don't need the perfect plan, you need momentum. Indecision feels safe, but it isn't. In the first 24 hours, doing nothing is a choice. It's choosing to let the situation outrun you. The core lesson is simple. Those first 24 hours aren't about dramatic heroics. They're about avoiding the traps. Don't turn your home into a target. Don't wait for permission to survive. Don't pack so heavy you can't move your kids. Don't let your instincts blind you into running straight into chaos. And do not freeze when the people around you need a leader. If you found this breakdown useful, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss our deep dives on vehicles and safe zones. And tell me in the comments, purely out of instinct, which of these 5 mistakes would be the hardest for you to avoid?